Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. On this week's program, we continue our series with the Valley Hope Association. Steve Knuth, the president and CEO, will join us. We'll talk about moving forward and all the uncertainty in the world right now. Plus, features from Kansas Soybean Commission, the Kansas Department of Agriculture, and Kansas Grain Sorghum. Plus, our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association and market information from Pinion, a division of K-Coe Isom. Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, KFB.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com. In Ag News from agview.net, the American Farm Bureau Federation, one of many ag groups, calling on the Biden administration to act responsibly when it comes to conservation. Biden's goal to conserve at least 30% of U.S. land and water by 2030, commonly known as 30 by 30, is raising many questions. A letter to the administration makes three key requests: that the administration provide clarity on the initiative, that the effort recognizes voluntary conservation efforts already underway, and that the administration seeks input from farmers and ranchers. Zippy Duvall, the president of the Farm Bureau, says the 30 by 30 goal has received a great deal of attention in farming and ranching communities all over the country. He said America's agriculturalists are asking whether their good work will be recognized by this administration. The letter points out that farmers and ranchers have voluntarily enrolled more than 140 million acres of private land into federal and non-federal conservation programs. That's a landmass larger than the size of New York and California combined. The letter said, "We ask you to move more swiftly and provide more clarification about your intentions, and when you do, make sure to invite public comment because farmers and ranchers are leaders in conservation and deserve to get heard," Duvall added. A recent study by Ernst & Young found that repealing stepped-up basis would trim U.S. GDP by about $10 billion a year and reduce employment by about 80,000 jobs. The study also says repealing stepped-up basis would reduce workers' wages by $32 for every $100 raise in additional tax revenue. President Biden proposed during the campaign to eliminate the stepped-up basis for inherited assets. Farm groups fear the idea could make one of the infrastructure packages that congressional Democrats are currently putting together. And Tyson Fresh Meats announced last week that they are joined U.S. Cattle Trace, making it the first beef processor to become a member of the Animal Disease Traceability Program. Shane Miller, the company's chief operating officer, said Tyson is hopeful their involvement will help advance industry efforts to implement the program around the country. Now, according to Brandon Deppenbush, the chairman of U.S. Cattle Trace Board of Directors, the group has heard from stakeholders across the country that for a producer-led system to succeed, buy-in amongst all sectors is needed. He said this commitment from a leader in the beef processing shows that no matter where we come from in the cattle industry, we're all working towards a common goal of protecting the nation's herd at the highest quality, most sustainable beef product in the world. Find more ag news at agview.net. More in a moment. Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. And agview.net, serving the Beef Belt and Western Corn Belt with reliable and relevant agriculture information. agview.net.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know-to-Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the soybean checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Steve Knuth, who is the president and CEO of Valley Hope. We're continuing our series on Valley Hope and on some treatment centers here around the state of Kansas, dealing with everything we've dealt with, and primarily with COVID. Maybe, Steve, is why we wanted to have some of these conversations. But even before that, your association with Valley Hope and how you've become the president CEO is quite a story. So could you share it?
Yeah, it's quite a story, one I never dreamed would end up where I'm at right now. But my involvement started, I feel like I was born an alcoholic when I just needed to find the alcohol. So my senior year of high school, I started drinking, and I pretty much started drinking too hard immediately. So it took me a long time after that to find my way to this place right here in Norton, Kansas. I figured I would someday, sooner or later. But it was 1989, in fact, when I came through here the first time. Didn't stay sober very long after that, wasn't ready, basically. Came back in 92 and was in much worse shape. In fact, I'm from south central Nebraska, living in Oxford, Holdridge area, and in 92 when I came back, I was in fact looking for bridges one evening to see where I maybe would finish my life out. So that's what happens when you drink or drug long enough. You get to that point. And came back through here in 92, actually stayed sober for about 8 months after that. Unfortunately, I went back to drinking. I did sober up in 98 out of a treatment center in Minnesota that I hated. That I was ready. That was the difference. But if it wouldn't have been for my 60 days in Norton, Kansas, I would not have sobered up in 98. So I'm upcoming, I think, on 23 years at this point in time of sobriety. But I owe it to Valley Hope by and large. This is a wonderful, wonderful place. And it's just really, really dear to my heart. So from there, I got on the foundation board in 2008. And then I was asked to serve on the VHA board, the main board, in 2016. A lot of things I'm going to skip in here, but one thing led to another. In the spring of 2020, right after COVID hit, I moved from vice chair to chair, and then we had a little bit of a shake-up and had a CEO leave here, and I offered to take that position as an interim and told the board they didn't even have to pay me, so they couldn't pass that up. So for about 4 months, I was here free gratis and felt like probably ought to stick around longer instead of going and looking for another CEO at this point. So I asked them if they'd put me on the payroll, and November 1st they did. So I don't know how long this is going to last, but I never dreamed I would be in this position. But I'm here to serve. I want to try to do the best I can for Valley Hope.
It's Steve Knuth. He is the president and CEO of Valley Hope. We're going to take a break and continue to talk about Steve's story, and we know a little bit. Let's dig maybe just a little bit deeper. We'll do that in just a moment.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Livestock Association, supporting members' business interests and meeting consumer demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future at kansascorn.com.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the soybean checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
2-1. And our guest is Steve Knuth, who is the president and CEO of the Valley Hope Association, based here in Kansas. In fact, their home office is in Norton, out in the northwestern part of the state. Steve, you're sharing your story, and I think it's kind of interesting as you know, it wasn't just a one-time shot. You know, it took 2 or 3 times. What finally sealed it? What finally said, okay, this is it? And I'm trying. I'm sure you try every day though to stay sober. But when was it that you finally said, "Okay, I have control"?
Well, the control part didn't come easy, but the fact of needing to surrender. Everyone that has an addiction has to hit a point of surrender, and what that basically means is you give up the fight. And ironically, when you give up the fight, this whole thing becomes more doable. For me, I felt for so long that I was smart enough, I could think my way through this, I could kind of manage my own process through this, and it's just, it's a simple program that's really damned hard to get your arms wrapped around. And for me, it took 10 years, 3 treatment centers basically, and what got me to the final leg of it to where I was out of options. Life was miserable, I wanted to die. What few prayers I would say, it was, please God, don't let me wake up in the morning. That was the kind of life I was living. So you just get to a point where I was just out of options. What I was doing wasn't working at all. It hadn't worked for many, many years. And I was either going to die or figure out some other approach to life.
Well, you talked about giving up the fight. Maybe explain that a little bit, and maybe those that you came in contact with, I would assume you also probably had that support group that is so important, that you know, probably you saw a little tough love and maybe some things you hadn't experienced before.
Yeah, and the support group outside, you know, there's a saying, they treat and release, and what that means is once you're done in these treatment centers, when you finish out your programming, you're back out in the real world, and you got to figure out how to float, swim or sink basically. And I fought it for a long time, wanting to be involved with recovery meetings, AA in particular for me, because I didn't do drugs, I was an alcoholic, but I did not want to be one of those folks. So I'd go to a few meetings and I didn't like it, I didn't want to be there. So I fought that tooth and nail for a lot of years. And when you surrender and give up, you just get to the point where you know you have to listen to people and do what they have proven time and time again can work, and pay a little attention, sit down and shut up and pay a little attention. And funny thing, I never wanted to be in those meetings, I never wanted to be those people, but after you get over the hump, which takes some time, I'd do anything. I call them my tribe basically. I'd do anything for those folks that are in those rooms, and there's all kinds of demographics in those rooms, but you know what, we got a common thread that we all that runs through us all. We're all fighting these demons, whether it's drugs, alcohols, or whatever. We have that common thread.
Steve Knuth is the president and CEO of the Valley Hope Association, a Kansas-based company. Let's take a break. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn. For livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Safety on the road is crucial during this time of year, and it is something that can't be emphasized enough. Vehicles that travel 25 miles per hour or less must be clearly identified as slow-moving vehicles by correctly operating lights, reflective markers, and most recognizably, the SMV orange triangle emblem. Farm equipment is typically wide and weighed down with a load of product, so the equipment is no match for the general public's fast-paced travel. Most crashes between SMVs and motor vehicles actually occur during daylight hours and in good weather, according to the Rural Road Safety Study. Kansas ranks 4th in the nation for miles of highways, meaning more miles of potential hazard. At a highway speed of 55 miles per hour, it takes just 8 seconds to close a gap the length of a football field when approaching an SMV. Caution and vigilance are key when traveling this planting season. Remember SAM, slow down, assess surroundings, and move with caution. Check out findmedriving.com for all you need to know about farm equipment safety.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
Beef has been the largest sector in the Kansas ag industry for many years, and the Kansas Department of Agriculture is proud to support the Kansas Beef Council in celebrating Kansas beef during the month of May once again this year. KDA is proud of the Kansas beef industry, a valued part of Kansas agriculture, known across the nation for the high-quality beef that is part of the heritage of our state. Kansas historically is a leader in beef production, ranking 3rd in the nation with 6.5 million cattle as of the first of this year. And the value of Kansas beef is also known throughout the world, as beef exports from Kansas totaled $1.33 billion last year. With beef cattle in every single county in the state, the beef industry is a vital part of communities across Kansas, contributing more than $13 billion directly to the state's economy. The Kansas beef industry includes leaders at all levels of the production chain, as well as research, health, marketing, and advocacy. Through projects like Cattle Trace and Secure Beef Supply, the Kansas beef industry has taken the lead nationwide in issues of traceability and biosecurity, reflecting the importance of the beef industry to the state. The hardworking ranchers of Kansas are committed to the health, comfort, and well-being of their cattle while preserving and protecting our natural resources and raising safe, nutritious, and wholesome beef for consumers around the world. Find recipes, purchasing tips, features on Kansas ranchers, and more at the Kansas Beef Council's website, kansasbeef.org. Then enjoy some Kansas beef on your grill this May and join the Kansas Department of Agriculture as we celebrate the important contributions of the Kansas beef industry during Kansas Beef Month.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
This Kansas Grain Sorghum Update features Sorghum Commissioner Kevin Kniebel, who represents USDA's East Central District 8 of the state.
I farm not too far from Manhattan, Kansas, to the south in Morris County. We have about 450 acres of milo usually per year. You know, it's a great crop to spread out our planting. The excitement to me, being an ag producer, is the ability to develop new ways to enhance soil health and make sure that the farm is passed on from generation to generation from years to come.
Kevin also has an eye on new horizons, representing farmers by helping to steer sorghum research at Kansas State University.
It's been several years ago that I got asked to join the commission. You get to see where a lot of your checkoff dollars go and the reason behind that, and you have the opportunity to have input in that process. I was also asked to serve on the CSIP board. CSIP is the Center for Sorghum Improvement, and they do a great job of promoting research and development for things that impact the farmer. Some of the things that I've had the opportunity to witness is the technology being utilized for the sugarcane aphid. There's a marker now for that, and it's in the mainstream. It's out in the market. The opportunity for sorghum going forward is pretty exciting. You know, we have these good markets right now, but with the research that we have and these technologies coming on board, there is going to be more opportunity for sorghum than even in the past.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
The Family Business Estate Tax Coalition released a study recently quantifying the impact a repeal of stepped-up basis would have on family businesses. The National Cattlemen's Beef Association and the Kansas Livestock Association long have advocated for the preservation of this provision of the U.S. tax code, as well as other sound tax policies for rural America. According to the study conducted by EY, family-owned businesses and the local economies they support would be hit hardest by a repeal. To show the impact it would have on farmers and ranchers, EY developed a case study based on a hypothetical family-owned cow-calf operation. In the scenario where stepped-up basis was no longer a tool available for use when generational transfer occurred, gains were taxed at death and resulted in an immediate one-time tax liability equivalent to 280% of the farm's annual income. This scenario shows the catastrophic impact a repeal would have on the ability of farmers and ranchers to transfer their operations to the next generation. This tax increase also would negatively impact the U.S. gross domestic product and job creation. Repeal of stepped-up basis also would impose a tax burden on top of the existing estate tax system, further compounding these negative impacts.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas corn, with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
Good day. This is Derek Hermish with Pinion, a division of K-Coe Isom, taking a look at this week's market. Life is full of changes. Sometimes the change is so slow you don't even notice it until one day you wake up and realize things are different than what they were months or years ago. Other changes are so fast you can feel the sting from them as they slap you in the face. A market like what we saw this last week would fit in the latter category. With big changes, there can be big opportunities. You need to weigh the risk that comes along with those opportunities and consider what changes you yourself will have to make to take advantage of them in a responsible manner. Rare is the case where change just falls into your lap, requiring no adjustments from you to take advantage of it. It is possible, but more likely that you will be required to make some adjustments or adaptations to your existing way of doing business to fully maximize the opportunity presented. In either case, it is best to do your homework and consult with some peers and/or professionals before to see what is best for you. When it comes to these markets, it is certainly worth talking it over with someone. If you would like to do that, give us a ring at 888-452-8751. I'm Derek Hermish. Have a good day.
Well, that's our show. Be social with us at KansasAgReport.net or our social media channels. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Are you looking for Medicare supplement insurance plans? Now is a good time to look at your options with Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. A Medicare supplement insurance plan can help cover certain out-of-pocket expenses Medicare doesn't cover. Things like deductibles, co-insurance, and certain limitations that can be costly in the event of an accident or illness. With Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans, you have options to Medicare supplement insurance plans with 4 levels of affordable coverage and service from an organization known for its commitment serving Kansans. We encourage you to compare our rates. For more information and to get a quote, contact a Farm Bureau Financial Services agent near you or visit kfbhealthplans.com. Medicare supplements insured by Members Health Insurance Company, Columbia, Tennessee. Not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. or state government.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the soybean checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.